Hi guys, and welcome to a very sunny autumn afternoon in Perth. Weather's just taken a turn for the better. It's like 24 degrees here, so I thought I'd do a video. 2021 Kawasaki Ninja 400. Great bike. I definitely recommend them to new riders and even people like myself. I've been riding for years and I love this bike. But today I'm going to talk about what Kawasaki got wrong, in my opinion. If they'd have put these changes on from the factory, this thing will be 100% spot on. But these mods are very cheap and very easy, so I'm going to go through them for you. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is the factory levers. As you can see, these ones are not factory. This was the first thing I swapped out on this bike. Now the factory clutch has some adjustment there, which is great. So you can adjust the throw of the factory lever. Obviously everyone is different how they like the feel of the clutch, so that's good. Kawasaki got that right, but then again, I've never seen a bike that doesn't have that has a cable clutch. Basically these bikes were made on a budget aimed at new riders, L-platers, things like that. But the problem is when you come around here is the factory lever has absolutely zero adjustment on it. So if these brakes don't feel how you like them out the factory, then you have no option but to put aftermarket levers on. The brakes themselves are actually really good for a budget bike. Single disc, but it's quite a decent sized disc. Twin pot calipers, and this is an ABS model. I've not had the ABS kick in, but then again, I've never ridden bikes with ABS before, so I'm not one that gives them a fistful of brakes. But yes, these levers here, quite nice with a little Ninja 400 on. eBay specials, you can get them from eBay, Wish, AliExpress. They're about 50 bucks a set, and basically they give you 6 points of adjustment. I'm on number 4 there, which is just past halfway, and that gives a good feel. Anyone that likes to give them a real fistful, flick it around to 6, and there's no way on earth you're pulling that. That's as hard as I can pull it. There's no way you're pulling that up to the lever. Obviously if you set it to 1 and you're a bit hard on the brakes, you could do that, but number 4, that seems to be a good point for me. So that's the first thing that Kawasaki should have put on this, an adjustable brake lever. All right, point number 2 is the screen. What can I say? The screen, I don't even know where to start. It's a weird shape. It's not like any other bike I've owned apart from my Ninja 300s, which is primarily the, what's the word I'm looking for? Predecessor to this vehicle? I think that's the right word. But yeah, the screens are very small and they're a very oddball shape. This is another eBay special. I believe I paid $45 delivered for it. It's tinted, unlike the original one. It has the extra bubble, so it's classed as a double bubble screen. I think it's not just flat, and it's also taller. So the factory screen sits somewhere down here and does pretty much nothing. Now, if you just pop into the shops and back, then no dramas. But if you're going to do long journeys on the highway, the aftermarket screen makes a massive difference over the original. Like I say, approximately 50 bucks to get a cheap one. If you're feeling a bit rich, you can get something like a Pugue, I think they're called, or a Zero Gravity, but you'll be looking at probably 3 times the cost for them. All right, point number 3, the foot pegs. Now, normally this is the first thing I would do, is get rid of that. However, this thing has done 300 kilometers and it's still in the running period, so I'm just taking this thing nice and easy. But I had a Ninja 300 before this, and jumping off the 300 onto the 400, the 400 actually has lower pegs than the 300, which I guess if you're just using it to commute on, that's great, very comfortable with the low pegs. But as soon as you start doing some spirited riding, the first thing you're going to do is start grinding these down. So what you'll probably do is take them off, and then you'll find the next thing you'll do is start grinding the actual pegs. So there's a couple of options for these. You can actually buy the riser plates that go on here and move the whole lot up. I'm going to give these a go. Don't know if they're any good, but basically they're adjustable pegs. So I'll get one out of the packet. So what these do, they actually go in the position of the factory peg, which I think would be like that. Curved bit to the bottom, is that right? I can't remember. Curved bit to the top. Yep, because they spring upwards. They sit like that. So basically what you can do is you can rotate them around, so you can set them further back, further forwards, higher than standard or lower than standard. Now I've not set these yet, but obviously if you look at that position, that would set it slightly higher and slightly further back than the standard position, which is pretty much what I'm wanting to achieve on here. So I'll pop them on soon, but they were AliExpress. That's my new eBay, is AliExpress. All my cheap stuff comes from AliExpress, and I believe they were $45 delivered. Now, because they are adjustable, obviously what I will do is I'll set these to the position that I want, and then I'll Loctite the crap out of these bolts, because the last thing you want is that working loose when you're riding. And once they're Loctited, they should be fine. Alright, so the fourth thing that I've swapped out, and it's not just Kawasaki that's got this wrong on the Ninja 400, it's every single manufacturer, probably in the last 5 to 10 years maybe. Why on earth are manufacturers putting the number plate hangers, like the biggest monstrosity I've ever seen? Like they come down here, I'm surprised they're not scraping on the floor. I realise there's certain legal reasons for doing it, but here we are with my $50 eBay tail tidy. It retains the factory indicators, the factory number plate light, and it also, this is not the factory one, but it comes with a reflector. So basically we're keeping everything legal there. It's not on a stupid angle so that you can't read the plate. Yeah, so why are manufacturers putting these big silly things that sit down here? Looks like the first time you pull a wheelie it's going to be smashed off the back. And so that's another thing that I've swapped out. Like I say, $50 again. Every mod I've done to this bike has been a budget mod. I do like spending money on my track bike because that thing gets pushed to its limits. This thing's just a bit of fun, Sunday rides, commute to work, so trying to keep it on a budget. So there we go, another 50 bucks well spent on my tail tidy. Alright, and the fifth and final thing, and I'm sure while you've been watching this video you've all been thinking the exact same thing, so let's address the elephant in the room. And I say the elephant because the thing's almost as big as an elephant. Now I understand why Kawasaki have done this. Obviously noise restrictions, emissions, etc, etc. They've put this big ass rear muffler on, which is fine, but let me show you why it's an issue. Alright, so I've got relatively small feet because I'm only a tiny little 5'7", size 8 shoes. So at the minute I'm wearing trainers. Obviously when I'm wearing boots, riding boots, my feet are going to be a lot bulkier. And if you imagine someone that could be maybe a size 10, 11, 12 plus riding boots, they're going to have some big ass feet. Now let me just sit on this. Now if you ride on the arches of your feet, which for commuting to work and back is fine, but anyone that does any kind of spirited riding knows that you ride on the balls of your feet. And yep, see an issue here? And that's with trainers and size 8. So you factor in a pair of riding boots and some size 12s and you're probably going to be back here. And now you can take this off, and I'm guessing this was an afterthought. They've put this big ass exhaust on, and then people are probably melting their shoes on the exhaust, so they've put a heat shield on, which has stopped you melting the shoes, but it's give you less movement. So I've got an aftermarket exhaust on the way. Like I said, this is a budget build, so we've drawn upon our very favourite AliExpress for an exhaust. I think I purchased the universal exhaust, then you buy the Ninja 400 link pipe, and you have to buy a little hanger bracket. There's a couple of things you have to buy separately. You can buy them all in one kit, however if you buy them separately it works out cheaper. I think I'm spending approximately $120 including delivery, and what I'm getting will look exactly like this because I fitted this exhaust on my other bike. Alright, so that's the conclusion. I've spent approximately $300 on cheap mods, and basically change the things that will make the bike more easy to ride, more pleasing on the eye, and basically just give me a bit more confidence riding it, knowing I can grab the brakes, knowing I can move my feet around, etc, etc. So in the coming weeks, obviously weather permitting, like I said, today's glorious, but the weather has been very bad recently. I'll probably take this for a ride and do a review on the bike. Like I said, I do love the bike. I've had heaps of bikes over the years, ZX10s, GSXRs, Daytonas, lots of powerful bikes. But currently I'm running a 50 horsepower 400cc as my daily, and I love it, so watch this space. And imagine the same. So my neighbours decided to move their RV and a plane's just decided to go over at the same time, so I think we'll stop that there.